Welcome to this video on recent updates in Google Forms. If you've been using Google for a while, you're probably quite familiar with Google Forms in a way to assess, give quizzes, gather information, surveys, all of those things. And so there have been a recent change in the way the form is sent out, or what's called now published. So we're going to look at that change. I'm just going to quickly navigate my way to Google Forms, and you can do that in several different ways, but I'll just use the waffle there on a new tab. You can see any recent forms that you've created or had open. I'm just going to go ahead and do a blank form here. And we'll just give this a name. So you'll build your questions, do whatever you need to do. You still have all the normal response settings where I can change it to a quiz, manage the responses, those kinds of things. But the biggest change or update in Google Forms is now in this top right hand corner where it used to say send, it now says publish. And that's part of giving the user, you, more granular control of how this form is distributed or who and when that person or persons can access it. So right now I have to publish the form before I can send it out. There's still this preview button. So you can still do the preview, but you'll notice that this form isn't accepting responses anymore. So I can't, used to be able to actually fill it out from the preview side, but you can't do that anymore. There is a copy responder link that you can use. So the biggest thing is when we come up here to the publish menu, it starts here, and if you're in a school setting, it's going to default to your school options. Anybody can respond to that. But again, you have to publish it first to be able to make that. If you want to adjust that, we're going to click Manage. And this is where we get into some more granular control. So right now, the editor view, I can make different people editors. Right now it's restricted, meaning people to the list, so it's only me right now. But let's say, for example, I want to add another person. So I go ahead and I add that person, and right now I'm adding them as a responder. But I can actually change that and I can make them an editor, or, this is new, I can add an expiration to their access. So let's say I want this person to respond, but they need to do it by a specific time. I can come in here and I can edit and give access to that person as a responder or an editor up until a certain time, and I can edit that here with a date and time selecting, and then I can choose then to notify that person as well in that access if I need to, and go ahead and do that. If you want to change the responder options, you can do the same thing. I can change it to restricted, and then that will only access the list or groups of people that I've added up here in this section, which we just looked at. Or I can come down and make it more open to anyone with the link, and we can come in here then and do that. All of those things, notice it says we have to publish form to make it accept responses. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to click Done. And now I'm going to hit Publish. And now that form you see up here changes to Published. I can still come up and I can change the responses. This is where I can turn off whether I'm accepting responses or not. Notice it's also where I can now copy my responder link here in this settings, and I can save. But now notice it says Published. I can also go ahead and I can click the Share button here, and I can share that, and that gives me a similar interface of being able to do that. But the biggest change for forms is you have to quote-unquote publish it first. Now if you have an older form, so I'll pull this up. This is an older form that I've created. If you have an older form, it's going to have those older settings on it. So notice now I am back to that normal button which we're used to in the past, which is that send button. So any form that was created in the older version of forms, or the non-published quote-unquote version of forms, still maintains the same settings and the same way that you used it. But if you create a new form, or you make a copy of a new form, an older form into an updated or a recent one, it is going to have this publish or published updates in that top right hand corner.